common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas.
And we love this song. And joining us now is Texas Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne. Congresswoman, before we get to this Venezuelan gang, this just crossed a little bit ago, that according to transcripts read by the New York Post, Rodney Scott, he was the border chief under, of course, Biden and Mayorkas, and apparently they got access to what he said behind closed doors. And behind closed doors in a hearing, he said it was intentional, that they made intentional decisions to have, illegal aliens cross into the United States, that it was purposeful and that they were purposely directing him that way. That's pretty big if indeed he said it was that he was informed of it and he was directed and it was blatant. And that's what he said behind closed doors to Congress, different than what he said publicly, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think there's also some memos that I understand are going around of directives that I think Congress is going to have to request to really get down to the bottom of it. There's the media campaign that this administration is having of what they want people to think that they're doing, and there's actually the instructions that they're giving to people, to the folks who are doing the work on the ground, which is completely different than what they're telling the public what they're doing. But look, we could see it by the numbers alone. When you've got nearly 15 million people who have entered our country illegally, when you've got how many, thousands, hundreds of thousands plus deaths from fentanyl. Look, the numbers speak for themselves. They're not doing their job. When you look at the policies that they have removed and the policies like catch and release that they've added, it's obvious that they're doing this, that they're doing this on purpose. And the whole purpose is to be able to maintain control. They want to have congressional districts repopulated from people who have left by voting with their feet. And they want to make sure they can hold on to those pro-Democrat seats. It's all about getting majority in the House and about maintaining it in the Senate. And it's crazy that they really don't seem to care about the increase in crime, the increase in death as a result of fentanyl. And then, as you mentioned, the gang activities that we're seeing in communities across the country.
Congresswoman, Governor Abbott is really, really mad at the gangs that are coming in, the Venezuelan gangs, and he's going to go after them. Tell us what he said.
Well, he's saying, look, we are going to identify. The state of Texas is declaring that Trinidad, TDA, they're declaring them as a terrorist organization. I mean, the Biden administration seems to be flying them in using Customs and Border Protection app, the CBP app, to get around illegal immigration. So Texas is having a lead by showing the nation how to deal with violent and criminal alien gangs. So they're basically, Governor Abbott is designating TDA as a terrorist organization because that will allow him to escalate the law enforcement resources against this extremely violent gang that we have seen go into apartment complexes again across the country, take over and act like they would act in Venezuela. But, the federal government isn't helping at all. So, again, the state of Texas is having to do this. And it's ridiculous that they are having to use their own resources for something that we're already paying taxpayer dollars for. But Texas is going to go after these Venezuelan thugs with everything that we have.
Congresswoman, I am pro-immigration, but they have an obligation to make sure that good people are coming and not terrorists are coming. I mean, I don't understand that.
Well, absolutely. But again, they don't seem to care. They don't care that terrorists are coming over. We know there's been thousands of people who've crossed our border who are on the terrorist watch list. We know that we've had nearly 15 million people who've entered. They don't care. Listen to what they say and then watch what they do. You've got Harris, who's already said that she's against the wall, that she finds it to be racist, and yet now she's advertising, putting out film with her in front of the wall as if this is always her idea. We have seen what she said, and we've seen what she's done. If you think about, the efforts that Governor Abbott has had to do, the resources that the state of Texas has had to spend because the federal government is completely absent of their job. And then you look at the credit that this administration is taking for the state of Texas Lone Star operation. I mean, the Operation Lone Star has resulted in, we've got 500,000 illegal immigrant apprehensions, and they've got more than 46,000 criminal arrests with more than 40,000 felony charges. They've seized over 521 million lethal doses of fentanyl. And by the way, that's enough to kill every man, woman, and child in the U.S. and Mexico combined.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. Craig Eaton has a question for you, Congresswoman.
Congresswoman, you're 100% right, but it's not just Texas. I mean, right now, the NYPD is warning of the growing Venezuelan gang presence in New York City, and they are recruiting New York City migrants. So the problem that I have is I think this is all about bringing people in so they can vote, and then we have 15 million unfettered migrants that cross the border. Even if we close the border tomorrow, we're never going to get rid of them. And we don't know who are terrorists and what diseases they have and who sent them here. So we're going to have to deal with this threat for the next 20 years.
If and when Trump gets reelected in November, I do think there's a plan of how to handle, getting these, especially the criminal element, out of our country. When I was mayor of the city of Irving, we worked with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It was a partnership between the local PD who are on the ground, working with our federal agencies, working with our federal law enforcement. And what you do is you have a partnership that when your police stop somebody for committing a criminal activity, if they cannot prove that they're in the country legally, the PD holds them, contacts ICE. ICE comes out, interviews them. If they're found to be here illegally, they're deported. There's a way to be able to do that. But right now, that program has ceased to exist under the Biden administration. They're not giving resources to it. And in fact, when you talk to Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents on the ground, they will tell you they have been advised not to do that.
Oh, my God.
Wow. That speaks volumes.
Congresswoman, thank you.
Thank you. We love having you on, Congresswoman. Thank you.
And keep telling the truth out there, because when you start telling people that they were told not to, oh, my God.
Yeah, that's scary. Congresswoman, we love having you here. Thank you.
Love you, Rita.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.